Hello YouTube, it's Darthsteve333 here again, eventually. Just letting you all know that I haven't fallen down a big hole or emigrated or died or anything. Thought I'd best post a video. Wish everyone a happy new year. Hope everyone's had a good Christmas. It's all been a bit quiet on the sort of games front recently. I did mention in my last video that it would probably go a bit quiet for a while, and I wasn't wrong. Basically, the run into Christmas and a load of birthdays just made it very difficult to sort of stay on top of the game hunting. Recently I've picked up a few things. There's a bit of a focus towards one particular system really, but without any further ado, I'll crack on. I haven't really visited any car boots recently, the odd one or two here and there, picked up a few bits and bobs, some of which have already been traded towards other things, some of which I've held on to. So, a bit of miscellaneous first. I think they found this in a charity shop for £2, which is the Tomb Raider Trilogy HD collection for the PS3. I did buy that originally with the purposes of perhaps getting some CEX credit off it, but I'm a bit loath to get rid of it at the moment, so I might well hold on to that. This one I found in a charity shop. I thought I can't recall seeing this. It was 99p, so I picked it up. It's Bombastic for the PS2. It's a complete manual disc and so on, and it turns out it's actually Devil Dice 2. Not played it yet. It's a bit of a puzzler by the looks of it. So there we go. That was 99p. These were all picked up from the recycle centre before Christmas. This one I did buy with the purposes of, or the intention of trading in. It wasn't until I got it home that I noticed something, but it's The Sims 3. It's obviously box and disc only. It's got a bit of a crack on the disc. It seems to play okay. I've cleaned the disc up and so on. It wasn't until I cleaned the disc up that I noticed it, so I'm not sure if you can see that there. There's a very faint line coming from the centre, so obviously that won't be accepted by anywhere as a trade-in, so I'll probably hold on to that and maybe install it to the hard drive and then just use the disc to sort of run it from, if I choose to run it. Like most people, I'm one of the guys on Sims games that basically just makes it awkward for the Sims to get along. Put them in a room without any doors and so on. That sort of sadistic nonsense. This one I did used to have, and then I traded it in years ago now. I thought I actually got it back, but I hadn't, so holding on to this. It's Rockstar Table Tennis. That one's complete. Disc and manual. Not a bad little game that. I know it doesn't trade for anything, so that's one for the collection. And this one is Operation Flashpoint Red River, which is amazingly still sealed. So again, I should probably hold on to that. Right, so we had the run into Christmas. Around about my birthday, or just before my birthday, a certain game came out, which I'd sort of played at Eurogamer, enjoyed it, played a beta, enjoyed that. A lot of people have sort of panned it because it hasn't got a single player campaign, and I was a bit dubious about that myself. I think I'd posted on a couple of Facebook groups or something to that end, but having played it, if you're a fan of the franchise, and I hate that word, but if you're a fan of that particular series, then it sort of ticks all the boxes really. It's if you haven't already guessed, it's Star Wars Battlefront for the PS4. It's good for a leap in and leap out game. I actually quite like the fact that it's not particularly deep. You don't have to work up 10,000 hours of gameplay to unlock all the best weapons. There's no realistic sense of progression in the game. It's just a game if you fancy a bit of Star Wars, bit of shooting, stick it in, play it for an hour or two, and you know it sort of it ticks all those boxes. So yeah, I've been enjoying this and continuing to enjoy it. I do think the DLC pricing is exorbitant. I'm not sure whether I'll buy any of the DLC packs unless they're reduced, but the levels within the game, you know, that you've got 4 planets, as it were. You've got Hoth, Tatooine, Endor, and Sullust, and they released some free DLC, which was Jakku, which is in the new film. I've seen that a couple of times now. I won't say any spoilers other than that I thought it was a great film. So there we go. So I've been enjoying that. Whilst we were away for my wife's birthday, we nipped up to York before it was washed away. We nipped into a Granger Games and we went halves on this particular game. We both played it, a Euro game. We've both been looking forward to it, and I'm sorry to say I haven't actually played it yet. My wife has been hogging it. It's Xenoblade Chronicles X, she's loving it. So that was bought new, and obviously, as I say, we went 2s on that. The following 2 are 2 more PS4 games, one of which I bought when it was reduced a few weeks ago. I've played maybe the first 3 hours or so, enjoying it. It's Fallout 4, but something has sort of pulled me away from that to a degree, and it's this other game that I picked up, Just Cause 3, which I'm not sure if I'm going through a little spell of playing games that aren't particularly deep. But basically this is a bit of a blast. You just zip around the map, doing what you like, when you like and how you like. Lots of explosions, lots of insane stunts. Bit of this sort of thing really. Flying through rings with a wingsuit on and so on. So yeah, all good fun. So I've been playing that quite a lot recently. So that brings me up to when we returned home. I'd sort of been umming and ahhing for quite some time. There's a couple of 3 local game shops or retro game shops that I've visited recently, and I'd actually seen a box Dreamcast in there a few weeks ago whilst my car was in for repair. So I thought, right, I might put some of my spare kit together and do a trade. So I did. I had to think long and hard. Basically I traded in a couple of old consoles and some games and such, and that gave me some credit. Now when I went back, unfortunately the box Dreamcast had gone, so I've still got my various unboxed Dreamcasts. It's a shame really, but I can see why it went. But I had also seen some Dreamcast games that I hadn't got, so I picked the following up. So in no particular order, although this is probably the least interesting of the lot, I've got Walt Disney World Quest Magical Racing Tour and Snowcross Championship Racing, Unreal Tournament, which I'm very pleased about. I used to love playing that on the PC, so I'm very pleased to get that for the Dreamcast because it seems to be getting a bit harder to find. This one, which is pretty common on the PS1, I believe, is the original Spider-Man game. Apparently this is getting a bit harder to find now as well, so glad to pick that up. And the final Dreamcast game that I got was Heavy Metal Geomatrix, which I'm told is actually sort of like an unofficial, unrelated follow-up to the Spawn game, which I don't have. But yeah, I got those 5, plus I had some credit left over. So I actually picked this up, which I'd been looking out for. It's still sealed. I'll break the seal when I'm about to play it. It's Pikmin 3 for the Wii U. So I've got all my Pikmins now, albeit with Pikmin 2, just the game and the box. So I need a manual for that. So I'll be looking out for an upgrade for that at some point. So that was pretty good. It was a bit of a wrench to sort of take some of my old consoles up there. They are spares of spares, or were spares of spares. even so, it was quite difficult. Some of you may know what I mean, others will think, what are you playing at? If you've got the console and a spare already, then there shouldn't be any problem, but at least I know they've gone to a game shop where someone with an interest in games will probably pick it up and they'll be looked after, so there you go. Anyway, Christmas came, lots of coughing and spluttering was done. Both my wife and myself weren't particularly well over Christmas, so we sort of got through it. Anyway, yesterday I went up to another of the local game shops and spent some Christmas money. So all of these were paid for with Christmas funds, plus I'd got 3 GameCube games that I picked up cheaply in the past, which were upgrades on existing ones that I got. I'd upgraded my existing ones, so these were the older copies being traded out. So I've got F-Zero GX, 1080 snowboarding and Medal of Honor Frontline. There was a PS2 game which I can't remember, and 4 PS1 games that were doubles as well. So the PS1 doubles were or included the original Worms, Worms Pinball, ODT, and there was another one that I can't remember, but anyway, they went towards giving me some credit, so that and some Christmas money enabled me to get the following Dreamcast games. None of them are particular, well, possibly with the exception of one, none of them are particularly sought after, but I'm pleased to get them because they are more to take off my list. So I've got Tee-Off, a golf game. All of these, incidentally, are in pretty good nick. Tee-Off's probably got the worst case. The Dreamcast case is to be expected. Next one is Millennium Soldier Expendable. Soul Fighter. So yeah, these have all got discs and manuals. And as I say, in most cases, the cases are pretty good. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. Wacky Races, which I used to have, and I'd convinced myself several times over that I still did have, but I don't, so now I do, and I've got it on video. And a couple to complete the Star Wars games on the Dreamcast, Star Wars Demolition, and Star Wars Episode 1 Jedi Power Battles. So that's all my Star Wars games on the Dreamcast. And this one is a harder to find one. This is one of which of the 2 games in this particular series. This is Racing Simulation 2 online. Now, I believe, or I'm hoping you can still play offline, but this was notable because it was an online edition, or online follow-up to Racing Simulation 1. So yeah, this is getting quite hard to find them, I'm told. So yeah, I was pleased to pick that up. So that pretty much brings me up to date. Apart from today, I went to the most local of the game shops that I visit, and had a good old chat to the guy in there, and he'd got a stack of about 30 odd Dreamcast games, and about 6 or 7 that I hadn't got, of sort of varying qualities as well. So you know, I could have easily spent quite a lot of money in there if I'd had quite a lot of money, but I'd only got a certain amount of my Christmas money left, so I had to make a selection. So I got one cheaper game, which is still one that I've been looking to pick up again because I had this before. It's Blue Stinger, and one which is getting quite hard to find, which I did pass up, I think, probably a couple of years ago, and regretted it ever since. It's a survival horror game, I'm told, called Carrier. So yes, picked those up today. So yeah, I've pretty much spent all of the Christmas present money that I got on Dreamcast games. But the good news is I'm now up to about 55% of the PAL catalogue, and I've got less than 100 games to go, which sounds like a lot still, but it's a barrier that's been broken. So yes, quite pleased. So I may have to rearrange the Dreamcast wall so that I don't cause the shelf to collapse and destroy all the cases. Anyway, that is pretty much that. I will try and post another video quite soon. I'm still not quite sure what frequency I'm going to be picking up the retro games in or with, just simply because yeah, it's been a difficult couple of months funds wise, and you know, other things. So yeah, as you've probably noticed, I've made a sort of conscious or maybe semi-conscious, subconscious decision to try and put some more effort into getting the Dreamcast games, because they seem to be getting more and more scarce. So you may see more Dreamcast pickups than other systems. You know, I do like the the GameCube, but that's sort of gone on the back burner, and it's only really if I see something that's, you know, going to be hard to find that I'll pick that up. That being said, I did see a copy of Vib Ribbon today for the PS1 that I was very, very tempted by, but I thought no, I'd stick with the Dreamcast. Anyway, I'm gabbling on. Thanks for sticking with me, all of the people that have subscribed and not unsubscribed as yet. I realise it has been a good gap since the last video, so hopefully this satiates your appetite for a video. I was considering perhaps doing a Star Wars games collection video, what with tying in with a new film and so on. But yeah, just haven't got round to it. So that might come in the future. But anyway, I'm going to sign off now. As I say, thanks for sticking with me. Thanks to anyone who's subscribed since my last video. And as I say, Happy New Year to everyone. Bye.